1 second. All right, there we go. All right, so welcome everybody. It's Robert Aducci here. We are going to continue our read through of the White Lake, the first of the Theater Knights adventure. And the reason we're reading this is to get me really familiar with it, but also to if anybody has not read through this and you wanted to kind of see what it's about. That's what we're doing here. We're more than seeing what it's about. We're like going deep. We're reading everything. This is the first of 6 adventures. The first 3 are out in English, and the next 3 are going to come out in the Gods of Aventuria Kickstarter or crowdfunding. It is going to be the Gods of Aventuria plus the next 3 books in the Theater Knights. So, we're just getting people used to these. If you want, you can get these at Drive-Thru RPG PDF. Or you can go to our Ulisses-US.com store and get the in-print books. So we are basically kind of in the middle of the second, the second kind of part of the adventure. The first part was the Road to Adventure, where we were sort of hired by, players are hired by someone. It kind of gives a few different options of who can hire them. They have a compatriot, Ulko, who goes on the adventure with them. And as you get to this lake, this frozen lake, where the characters have to try to negotiate getting this drum back. And the first part is the journey to the lake. The second part is kind of skirmishes and negotiations at the lake. You can help out Lidora of Firanin. She is a blessed one of Rondra. And then that's how the characters generally kind of get involved in the situation directly. It's obvious that there's sort of a standoff. The Norbards don't really want to give the drum up, and the Topinski's men, they're kind of spoiling for a fight. So it's kind of player's job to talk to everybody and kind of smooth things over while not kind of inflaming their own issues. There's also the issue of Ulko, who came in order to save 2 goblins, and the goblins are being held by Timsky and his men, and Ulko wants to free them. It gives you a couple options of what to do, like how to free them, and then what they do also while they are freed, or if they are freed or not. So we are now into the section of the Norbards. So basically, we kind of started last time where they just start. The adventure starts off, but this section starts off with kind of going over what the houseboats look like that the Norbards are living on. There's several of them in the water, and there's ice kind of coming up to the houseboats, and so at some point it'll be icy enough that the Timsky's men can get out there to cause trouble. So we just kind of read that a little bit of the background of the Norbards and what their boats look like, and now we're going to get into making contact. So actually talking with the Norbards. So the heroes can reach the boats with a raft supplied by the Festumers. While the heroes visit the Norbards, Ulko stays in camp to prevent Johnny and Brooch from being tortured any further. If the 2 are already free, he catches a cold and must stay in bed. The boats of the Trubitsky moor on the deep water. When they arrive, the heroes are greeted by Zybilja Tuminka, who is protected by 6 armed men and women. Before the heroes are allowed to enter the boat, she insists they remove their weapons, including mages' staffs and Rondra's crests. Tuminka makes an exception only if she is allowed to tie a green ribbon around the weapon's handle. While doing so, she murmurs some Alhanian verses, but these have no effect. The ribbons act as peace bonds and can be removed in 2 combat rounds. Tuminka Trubitsky. Brief descriptions. Skilled Zybilja, small and petite, laughter lines around the eyes, hoarse voice with rough Norbard accent, icy gray hair despite her age, likes to smile, gets cold quick and wears several layers of clothes, smokes long-handled rolled cigarillos mixed with herbs from the forest. Motivation: wants peace and good deals, mostly for the Trubetskys. Agenda: serves as the contact point between the heroes and the aunts, the matrons of the Norbard families, to prevent attacks on her family. Uses magic and her knowledge of to assist the heroes in their journey to the Red Sickle. That's something that happens later. Function: friendly and patient ally of the heroes, skilled diplomat, striving for a humane outcome, likable guide through the Norbard's world. Background: Taminka spent half her life reading old scrolls and spent the other half tending to the harmony and well-being of her family. She maintains her role as a scholar and spiritual leader when dealing with the heroes. She wandered for several years, making her receptive more receptive to strangers than many of her relatives. This time abroad has taught her that a positive attitude and some stubbornness are the best tools for dealing with the dangers of life. Animosities: complaining, cruelty, and obstinacy. Portrayal tips: roll your R's and use some Russian or Yiddish terms if you know them. Mime smoking with fingers held straight out. Be patient, smile a lot. Always choose your words to sound as friendly as possible, and avoid clear statements. A bit difficult means no, and your offering is interesting means you are not offering enough. Fate: Taminka does not appear in future publications. Special: Taminka does not participate in the Norbard's unfair negotiation tactics. Taminka's younger brother, Alexei, who married into the Jaternov Meshpoka, plays an important role later on during the campaign. Some quotes from her: as you say, forgive me, I was maybe hard to understand, and I see you must have an excellent idea how to solve the problem, as a reply to a no. There's a special ability for the Zabilja tradition, an add-on role, which is cool. Zabiljas only use rituals, not spells. Casting a ritual on a family member grants a bonus of +1, a bonus of 1, but to receive the bonus, at least 5 of the family members must be within 100 yards. Zabiljas can learn Norbard rituals and create and use traditional artifacts of Norbard culture, and the tradition's primary attribute is intuition. So the first round of negotiations. Taminka invites the heroes to enjoy honey cookies, tea, and miskins in the warm houseboat and listens to their request. So if you're in the chat, let me know, have you played this adventure? What did you think of it? How did you think it leads into the next adventures? And any tips on running this adventure, especially this part that we're reading now? If desired, Aunt Wadnerka Trubetsky is also present, wrapped in many blankets and furs. The drum isn't here. Let's see. Yeah, so here's our stats. The drum isn't here. It's in a safe place that is unknown to Taminka. The Trubetskys are willing to sell the drum to the Festumers, if only to avoid another attack. But because the 3 families acquired the drum together, one family alone cannot decide to sell it. Before that can happen, the heroes must meet with the aunts of the other Meshpoka, Anshaj, Prishka, and Zajita Vrimatov. Taminka accompanies the heroes, who must prove their trustworthiness, since the first encounter with the Festumers went so badly. Let's see. Trykov Ravenwood says, I'm preparing to run it soon. Sadly, I haven't run it yet. Well, hopefully, reading over this with us will maybe highlight something that you missed or help you out here. So if you have any questions, let me know. Recognizing Taminka's strategy. Check using empathy, discern motivation at -2. Time required 2 hours. Quality level 1 is the journey gives Taminka the chance to know the heroes. Quality level 2, if they're trustworthy, the Norbards hope to be able to influence the Festumers through them. Quality level 3, the aunts will probably want to test the hero's character. Quality level 4, the Festumers attack shocked many members of the family by introducing the heroes to all Mespoka, and if the heroes don't act contrary to their expectations, Taminka builds trust in her own judgment and the aunt's leadership. Quality level 5+. It was a coincidence that the first attack hit the Trubetskys while they were being watched by the Festumers these past few days. The other families retreated and made preparations. The idea that if something went wrong with the Trubetskys would suffer the brunt of it, but the other families would remain safe. By revealing their locations to the heroes, the risk is now spread among all 3 families. Check using commerce -1. Time required 2 hours. Quality level 1. The Norbards want to sell the item to avoid more conflicts. The delay is quality level 3+. The delay is part of their negotiation tactic. The more difficult it is to get to the drum, the higher its price will be. Quality level 5. The Surgiloffs sold the drum to the Vrimitovs, who hid it. That is why the Trubetskys alone cannot sell it. Quality level 6+. The Vrimitovs view the drum as their property, but they are in debt to the Prishkas, so it takes the agreement of all three families to deal with the Festumers. So these are the symbols like to make it easy and to make it harder. So the green symbol is the heroes might gain more information from the Trubetskys by purchasing some goods from them. This information might arrive via a Trubetsky family member blurting something out during a sales pitch. To make it harder, the heroes can buy something from the Norbards on credit if they lack money. If so, this chance to introduce a new subplot involving financial obligations. Maybe the Norbards use these debts to pressure the heroes during the negotiations, or one of the Festumers learns that the arrangement and stirs up companions against the heroes. Shopping. During the encounter with Tminka, the heroes already have a chance to look at the Norbards. After tasks are finished, the Norbards begin to trust the heroes more, and in addition to food supplies, offer them winter clothes and other travel gear, such as snowshoes, basic tools, good fishing rods and bait, tattoo equipment, simple jewelry, and some oddities. If you wish, employ the special ability Bind Mashores, I'm not sure, see call-out box, but only if your players might enjoy it. Let's look at this. Bind Mashores, special ability add-on rule. Norbards have a mysterious ability to cause their customers to experience cravings that they didn't know they had. Potential customers that get caught up in the sales pitch find it hard to resist. The term Bind Mashores, a Lani term for good deal, could also be translated as a hard sell. Rule. The special ability grants a new application for the skill commerce, making the competitive check against using commerce, Bind Mashores, against the target's willpower. A target that does not successfully resist agrees to buy the goods being offered, even if said goods are useless. A price that is too high can make resisting easier, depending on the GM. This special ability can be used once per shopping encounter. That's cool. So I feel like shopping is, something that sort of always happens in RPGs, but a lot of times it's glossed over, and it's rare that there's like special abilities that are built into it. So I like to see that. List of goods. We won't read through those, but it looks like an amulet, an antiquarian barbarian sword, reversible winter coat, a green scarf, a burger's letter for the city of Ovenmus, and the 8-pointed antlers of a white stag. Nice, just kind of some nice color. Departure. You can lengthen or shorten the trip to see the Aunts as you like. Give any fighters the chance to prove themselves against flora and fauna to help maintain their interest. For inspiration and stats for suitable characters, see page 53. Example names for lakes: the Green Man, the White Pond, the Knatwater, the Reekbed, the Walloper. The Hardeners know the lakes by these names, and most have visited no more than half of them. The Norbards know these lakes by Alani names, whose translations are quite close to the Gorethi names. Example names for boats: the Gorkanhicha, small sandcastle; Koshalek, Bishel; Haniunk, light castle. It's cool names. Anaprishag's task, the poor carpenter. Anaprishka, 59, aunt, long fingernails, bald brow, thick braids artfully draped over his shoulders, loves her loud songbird, Kurgaj, hates that she has a trouble with names. Willpower 10. Agrees to the sale of the drum if the heroes solve the following problem. Recently, more and more items have been developing a life of their own on the houseboat named Gorjunka. Chairs move as if pushed by a ghost, and pots jump from the shelves. It's especially bad for the carpenter, Dunyev Prishkaj, 30. Experienced carpenter, dark, passionate eyes, chiseled chin, large hands, good looks, loves alcohol, hates his job, needs a new profession. Anka believes that a witch named Norna cursed the ship because the handsome Dunjev didn't want to share her bed. She often flies overhead, shouting her curse. On nights such as these, Dunjev fearfully locks himself inside. Norna's house stands by a forest near Larsak, and Anka can describe how to get there. Background. The Prishkas bought a saw from Alej Ragjaraf. See page 55. Its blade is moved by a bound demon. The Gorzhunka, where Ginjev stores the saw, is also home to a Cloudbouter named Belimbi Klim Kalimberthing. Knee-high, seaweed-like beard, black hair draped with duckweed, likes to suck out snail shells, and he fights bitterly against having the demon in his home. Anyone using the saw is pelted with furniture, which has the effect of destroying other items. Bowls spill soup, hammers demolish clay jars, and axes punch through barrels and baskets. So the Cloudbouter, I learned when I was doing the Vampire of Havana. It's kind of like a bit like a kobold. For those of you that might not be familiar with this monster, one of the things I really like about the Dark Eye is that there are so many sort of different monsters. Self-destruct. Yep, we're just talking about that. So it's interesting. Yeah, like I was saying then, I really like how there are different creatures in this. So it definitely feels like it doesn't feel like just another kind of fantasy world. It definitely feels different. Norna the Witch. Dunyev became the secret lover of Norna, experienced Toad Witch, 33, slender, moves clumsily, wears pearls woven into her hair, hates Blessed One of Prios, and needs a motivated student. Familiar is the Toad Ulfrid. Some time ago, her fight over the houseboat is a signal to lock up the boat and sneak over to her place. Nice. Dunyev believes that Norna only stages the curse to conceal their affair. She openly admits to this if the heroes visit her and asks politely. If not, she releases an angry fighting stick, 8, to buy time to escape her broom. Norna also knows that Dunyev isn't a good carpenter because he drinks too much. She believes that the aunt commanded Zybilja Pernili Prishkaj to call a spirit of humus to the boat to take revenge for Dunyev's having murdered trees. Norna recommends that the heroes advise Dunyev to be more diligent in his work. This apparently is what it looks like in the carpentry office. Norna believes this could make all the trouble disappear. The heroes could learn all of this from Dunyev, Fast Talk 7 or Willpower 3, but he thinks he might be guilty, so he lies quite a lot, hampering their investigation. Pernili the Zybilja. Pernili Prishkai, early 30s, skilled Zybilja, Tuminka's rival, widow, hair dyed with red henna, loves her son, Sildroyan, hates the fact that Anka commanded her not to solve Dunyev's problem by herself, wants a new husband but has no time to look for one, told Dunyev to drink less because he mended her boat quite sloppily and it simply sank in the lake last summer. However, she hasn't cursed him and has not called upon a spirit of humus. His punishment is to replace the Pernili scrolls, which she lost when the boat sank. As a result, Dunyev finally learned to write. Only Pernili knows how much was lost and how long his new duties will really last. Hints. In Dunyev's workshop, the heroes can witness the invisible, except for the consequences, battle between a kobold and a demon. Describe splintering furniture, holes punched in walls, and wooden splinters flying through the air like arrows. Careless heroes might suffer 1d6 damage points per attack. Casually mention the toolbox which holds the unholy saw. The heroes should have a chance to find the saw, which, although it is used all the time, looks brand new and almost suspiciously undemonic. Magical analysis of the saw. With Odem Arcanum, analyze arcane structure, or see magic, the heroes might be able to discern the demonic nature of the saw, but is only tangentially responsible for the haunting. Check using magical lore artifacts. Quality level 1. The saw's mechanism is magical and stores more than 10 SP. Quality level 2. The magic is weak. 3. Because the bound demon has little power. And 4. And has been residing in the saw a mere 4 months. Information about the kobold. The cause of the magical occurrence is the kobold, who won't tolerate a demonic artifact in his home. Check using magical lore creatures. -1. Cloudbouts are fairy creatures typically found on ships. 2. They are unpredictable, but usually attack humans only when provoked. 3. Cloudbouts see themselves as keepers of their home ships, and they can be lured with charms and gifts of sweet tobacco or alcohol. 4+, Cloudbouts are enemies of all that is demonic. A Cloudbouter's true name grants great power over him. Remorse. Dunyev suspects that something might be wrong with the saw. He blames himself for the weird happenings, but is too ashamed to admit it. He is told his only sister, Shlanka, 27, very long braid, wears billowing woolen skirts, married to faithless Zarkiv, loves her brother. Dunyev hates being childless, needs a new husband. So she told his sister about it and made her promise not to tell anyone. This is apparently the demon, I guess. Vilmaeth, the Curse of Steel. We'll come back to that in a moment. Other clues. If the heroes watch Dunyev long enough, they might see him secretly speaking to it. His new shiny tool might also stand out during an inspection of his belongings. Sooner or later, the kobold Bilimbi will make an appearance and demand the hero's help. Possible solutions. Magical or karmic exorcism of the demon, teaming up with the kobold to fight the demon. Bilimbi draws the demon out of the tool, giving the heroes 1d6 combat rounds, or 5 combat rounds if you want to make it easier to fight it. The heroes negotiate with the kobold and promise to take the saw with them and destroy it within a certain time, 1 to 3 months, depending on the success of the negotiation. As collateral, Bilimbi demands hair from up to 3 heroes. If they break their oath, he will find them and punish them. It is not enough to throw away the saw or to take it somewhere else. Bilimbi demands that the demon must be destroyed. End. When the heroes defeat the demon, ensuring that the kobold will be peaceful in the future, Anka Prishkai is satisfied. The aunt punishes Dunyev depending on the hero's involvement. This could be anything from a stern lecture to years of exile. Satija Virmatov's task, the 3 sons. I just want to go back. So this is the Curse of the Steel. This is the demon. I'm just kind of looking at its special abilities. Combat behavior focuses on the weakest opponent and attacks unrelentingly with forceful blows. The demon does not flee. Special rules susceptible to blessed demon rules. Uses the general demon rules on page 355, the core rules. All right. Zajita Vrimatov's task, the 3 sons. Zajita Vrimatov is a late 60s skilled aunt, nearsighted, wears necklaces of shells, snails, and amber, loves dwarven ale, which she proudly drinks out of a glass tankard, hates whispering, needs someone to mark her playing cards. Willpower 8. Promises to bring the drum to the Vandrashek clearing if the heroes find and return a box that has been stolen from a crone named Jalara. This box is made of wood, painted red, and closed with a cord tied into a serpent knot and sealed with wax. Zadita says 2 teenagers, Kaspag and Sildrojan, are the thieves, while they say it was someone else. This would not be the first time that they blamed others for their deeds. With this task, Zadita wants to test the hero's cunning and discern whether they are on the side of the tradition or on the side of the old woman. She is okay with either, as long as they show respect and empathy. If they don't, she raises the drum's price by 30 bahts, but agrees to the sale. Background. Jalara's life is ending. Let's see. Zajita? Who's Jalara? Let's see. The names of Jalara's sons. So, hold on. Let's read this next section and see what it says. So, Kaspag and Zildrojan. Kaspag Vimertov, 15, misunderstood poet, 4 horn rings on each hand, necklace with noisy horn plates, loves his Tambruka, hates Tuminka, needs more sleep. And Zildrojan Prishkai, 14, horny teenager, fine features, narrow mustache, wild matted braids, loves attention, hates taking orders, and needs a challenge. Zildrojan has retreated to a clearing in the forest where they wish to enjoy the treasures they purchased from the trader Algiers Ragashov, namely erotic pictures from Minaria and some dried ilm leaves. Weak drug can be recognized with a check using a plant lore. To get to the shore, they stole a raft. Their tracks in the snow are easy to follow. If the heroes betray the boy's secret, their punishment is less severe than Dunyev's. If the heroes promise to keep their secret, the 2 boys tell them that they know where Zildra's box is hidden. What's the secret? Did I miss something? Let's see. If the heroes betray the boy's secret, which is where they is the secret where they were enjoying treasures they purchase? I'm not sure. Because up here it said, let's see, because it was his wife, his sister, Slanka, married to faithless. Oh, that's Zharkiv. Where did I see Zildjian? Sildrosian. Oh, is that her? I don't know. The crone. Oh, the crone is Zildjian. There we go. Well, let's see. The names of Zildjian's son, Dushan, Wardrabrov, Rabaj, and Atelno, have been burned on the lid of the box in Old Alani. All three sons have married into other families. The boys believe that Zildjian hid the box and forgot where she put it. She does not want to admit this, but she does remember, and the heroes could find out if they shadow her. So here's the background. Zildjian's life is ending. For months, she has been so confused that she mistakes family members for strangers, forgets to dress, or claims that her sons have not married into other families, but rather are trying to play a trick on her by hiding. As is customary, Taminka is supposed to summon her sons to her side with magic to allow her mother to say goodbye to them. For the ritual, the Zablija needs a personal connection to the men, which is why the missing box is so important. It contains some old braids of hair from Jilzara's sons. But the old woman doesn't want to be seen by her sons in such a miserable state, so she hid the box. She expected that someone would go looking for it, and in a lucid moment, she tasked the girl Banja Vremetov to make the box disappear by destroying it and its contents, if necessary. Banja knows of Zildjian's condition and hesitates to perform the final step. Nice. I like this. This is a cool little side quest that, is a very personal kind of thing. It doesn't appear to be, overtly magical or anything like that. It's just a kind of very personal human thing. I like that. After the mention of the names burned into the lid, a successful Myths and Legends check reveals an old Norbard tradition. Mothers keep the braids of their married sons to allow the Zabilja to summon them with magic in an emergency. Members of or experts in Norbard culture know that such a ritual exists. Outsiders need a successful magical lore rituals check at -3 to recall such knowledge. Zildjian Vremetov, 99, senile elder of the family, white hair, gaunt, weak voice, arms, shoulders, and face covered with tattoos of bees. Rumors say that she has a beehive in her belly. Loves Banja, hates pipe smoke, needs somebody to take her wishes seriously and take care of her in her confused moments. She does not believe anything the heroes say at first and thinks they are actually her married sons. After some confusion, she agrees to search for the box, but with them in various places that Banja often uses as hiding places. A successful empathy check indicates that the crone is hiding something. Jalara is hiding things because she increasingly mistrusts people, but mostly she hides food, which then begins to rot and stink. The heroes can notice that young Banja is watching them, even though the girl does not admit to it. Banja's tracks are also easy to follow. Banja's hiding places. Banja, who's 12 and a smart girl, brown doe eyes, habitually chews on her lower lip, loves the elder Jalara, hates lying, needs somebody to help her out with her quandary. Banja is the only person who has Jalara's absolute trust. Banja is actively hiding the old woman's wooden box while the heroes are visiting. Banja changes the box's hiding place often, especially if the heroes come close to finding it. If necessary, she hides the box on her person. The heroes can discover her various hiding places, see below, with a successful competitive check using tracking versus Banja's stealth. The following is a list of her many hiding places and the clues that point to them. One of them is between other containers on a wall shelf. There's shards of a pot that once stood there. In one of Thessia's beehives, where the bees are patiently waiting out the winter. 2 stings on Banja's hands, honey on the floor where she wiped her hands clean. In the grain storage area, where you can see stuffed between the sacks of flour, there's footprints in the flour dust on the floor. And in the chimney, lowering down from above, there's soot on Banja's fingertips, footprints in the snow on the roof. To make it harder, if discovery seems inevitable, Banja tries to burn the braids in the stove, a course of action that can only be prevented by physical interference or a fast talk check with a penalty determined by the GM. In her desperation, she might try to escape into the surrounding thin ice with the box where she is in danger of breaking through. Solutions. A cumulative check using Treat Soul, 15 minutes, any number of attempts, can bring about a lucid moment in Jalara, giving the heroes an opportunity to persuade her to tell the truth. If she does, give the heroes the chance to save the hair, so they can decide whether to follow Zuljara's wishes and destroy it, or else summon her sons according to family tradition. Banja is punished with at most a few days of cleaning the stable, depending on the hero's intercession, and nothing prevents negotiation over the drum. Nice. Alright, to the third part, Turf Battle. Once the heroes have fulfilled the ants' tasks, the negotiation over the drum can begin in earnest. The goal is to have the Norbards and the Festumers agree on a price. The meeting takes place in a small Vendrashek clearing where the heroes have been meeting with trade partners for generations, or where families have been meeting with trade partners for generations. Tympinski, Jaroslav, Ludara, and the Zabilja Tuminka and the three aunts meet there daily to discuss terms. Both sides insist on a balance of power, so each day they meet, an additional dozen people show up. Ludara wants a third neutral party to attend to ensure the safety of the negotiations, and she thinks the heroes are. She asks the heroes to perform this duty. Game rules for the negotiation. Each day, both sides make a competitive group check using commerce haggling. Jaroslav and Tympinski negotiate with for the Festumers. The Norbards are represented by Taminka and one of the aunts. They rotate this duty daily. Each quality level of difference results in 30 bots, concession to the offering party with the lowest offer, which will usually be the Festumers. The Festumers start with an offer of 100 bots, while the Norbards demand 800 bots. The negotiations conclude successfully when both offers differ by no more than 30 bots. Heroes who manage to present arguments as neutral with a successful fast talk, manipulate, or persuasion public speaking checks add to the competitive commerce check for the appropriate side, one per hero. Acts of sabotage can also affect the result. It quickly becomes obvious that the aunts have a great advantage when negotiating. Due to a special feature of Norbard culture, members of the family who are present, no more than 1d6 per day in negotiation, can use the special ability Give Trouble to assist their aunt. Let the heroes choose their own reactions to this deception. The Festumers notice the imbalance only if they lose a negotiation by more than QL6. This results in nasty threats, which can only be brought under control with a cumulative group check, fast talk, manipulate for 5 minutes and 3 attempts. If successful, re-roll the competitive group check. If this new roll is a failure and the heroes cannot reach a concession worth 60 bots or 2 quality levels, the Festumers quit the negotiation and prepare to attack. If fighting then breaks out, Bruch beats the drum in battle, making the situation even worse. The adventure still continues, but with some important changes. So here's the Give Trouble special ability. Norbards like to argue and often address their family members with mocking, sometimes biting words, accompanied by a shrewd wink and clucking of the tongue. This is actually a type of support for various tasks, but few outsiders are aware of this ability. Rule. A person with this special ability can improve the result of a family member's skill attempt. Make a check with the same skill and the same modifiers as the family member's check. If the check is successful, the family member's result is improved by 1 skill point, I think SP is. The task must take long enough to permit a comment to be made. No more than 6 people can assist a skill attempt with Give Trouble. Make an empathy check at -3 or +3 for those who possess this special ability to notice that someone is using Give Trouble. Prerequisites: Fast Talk 4, being a member of a Mespoka, and AP value 5. To make it easier, dispense with the check and focus on the sabotage scene. Assume that the Norbards win with 3 quality levels, which means 90 bots per day. Mood indicator. The progress of the negotiations is reflected in the negotiator's mood reflects the progress of the negotiations. The lower the difference between the offers, the closer both sides come to reaching an agreement. So difference in offer and change in behavior. So if it's over 500, the leaders of the negotiations greet each other in a friendly way. If it's less than 500. If it's less than 400, no weapons are brought to the negotiation. If it's less than 300, the participants toast the continued negotiation. If it's less than 200, the drum and gold chest are brought to the negotiation. If it's less than 100, the parties exchange symbolic gifts, knives, pretty but worthless, jewelry, food, etc. Sabotage. Away from the negotiating table, both sides can take actions to influence the proceedings. Each action has a value on an amount that modifies the offer to the party damaged by the action, usually lessening the Normbard's demand or increasing the Festumer's offers. Alert heroes can notice actions and interfere in various ways. This could change the value of the actions, a new value, and even reduce it to 0. It's also possible to cause an action to backfire, turnabout, which negatively affects the acting party rather than the intended target. The heroes should be careful because when interference or turnabout is noticed, one of the heroes receives the appropriate drawback from the chart below. This isn't always a bad thing, though, as the unveiling of a new opponent could damage the injured party's morale. Against the Norbards. The food. Squire Arlen catches some rats in the woods and holds them in a large pot. On a snowy night, he rows to a houseboat, sneaks aboard, sets the rats free in the food staging area, and shovels the snow inside the room. These actions spoil the supplies. In the worst case, the rats enter the living quarters and attack the Norbards' snakes, which are hibernating in their baskets. Value, Norbards -2 quality level. Notice. Finding Arlen's tracks or traps in the woods, tracking +1. Finding the rats in the pot where they squeak or where they're being fed, perception +0. Watching Arlen row away during the night. Hearing about the incident of the houseboat, luckily finding a drift in the snow. Interfere. Intimidate Arlen and release the rats in the forest. New value of 0 quality level. Turnabout. Set the rats loose in the camp. New value Festumers -2. Accuse Arlen with false evidence. Festumers additional -1 quality level. Nice. The Traitor. Agnitha Trubitsky, 18, spoiled, buxom beauty, daughter of Wadnurka, subtle lily tattoos on the backs of her hands and thighs, likes to show off her legs, loves sunbathing, hates chicken fricassee, craves diversion. Seduction 10, fast talk 8, willpower 3, perception 5. So Agnitha wants to improve her standing and sell the drum to the Festumers for 40 bots. If she can convince Trubitsky to cooperate, she slips a sleeping draft into the drum's guards, steals the drum, and delivers it to Trubitsky. Then she sneaks back, takes the sleeping drug herself, and lies down alongside the guards to create her alibi. The next day, Trubitsky brings the drum to the negotiation, does not mention Agnitha's involvement, and returns the drum to the Norbards in a grand gesture, because he knows that Lundara does not tolerate theft. Value, Norbards -3. How it gets noticed. Follow Agatha when she goes to meet Trubitsky and listen in on their conversation. Interference. Stop Agnitha or make Trubitsky give up on their plan. New quality level. New value 0 quality level. Capture Agnitha and turn her over to the Norbards as a traitor. New value Norbards -5 quality level. Turnabout. Return the stolen drum to the Norbards to embarrass Trubitsky the next day. Value Festumers -3 quality level. Exhibitions of strength. Soon after the negotiations begin, the lake begins to freeze over. Every day, Shet's Jawage, so that's a night basically, the night Jawage, checks to see whether the ice is thick enough to support an attack. After 1d6 days, the moment arrives. If Jawage decides to relay that information, the Festumers perform a small military exercise on the ice designed to intimidate the Norbards. Value, Norbards -5 quality level. How it gets noticed. The freezing and measuring are obvious, but there are rumors about a planned exercise. Interference. Delay Jawage's news about the carrying capacity of the ice is 2 bots per day or a competitive check using fast talk hard sell versus a willpower of 3. If turnabout. If the ice is declared safe too soon, 6 quality level gathered in at most 5 competitive fast talk checks, 1 per measurement or 20 bots. The soldiers fall through the ice into the water. Some people are injured and Jawage is questioned. The heroes should assist her. New value, Festumers -5 quality level. Reinforcements. As soon as the ice gets thick enough, Shet's Friedebald or Rudjev rides to Harden to summon reinforcements from the barracks. Countess Bilgund is more than willing to punish the Norbards, but demands plundering rights. This action takes 2 days. After that, the camp of the Festumers grows by an additional 12 fighters. The Norbards also gather more troops. Value, Norbards -5. Notice, Freebald's loud boasting during breakfast clues in everyone in the camp. Plus, it's easy to follow his tracks. Interfere. It's very hard to convince Freebald to abandon his plan. Willpower 3. The best way would be for a noble to challenge him to a Rondrian duel. Use Jaroslav's stats. A kidnapping might lead to unpleasant questions from Ludara. When caught, new value Norbards -7. The heroes can make a deadly new enemy if Freebald dies as a result. Turnabout. Rile up the Countess with believable but false information about Freebald. The Shetts might be chased away, and the Hardeners might even grow so indignant that they move against the Festumers and start a brawl at the lake. New value, Festumers -5. If the heroes have defeated the troublemaker Rujev in Harden, convincing the Countess is easier, +1 to checks. Rujev's attack. Just as the negotiations seem to be reaching a successful conclusion, Rujev convinces the nobles to attack. The annoyed and drunken Bronars are easy to incite. Rujev, Friedebald, and his squire Arlen, Jaroslav's squire Jeterine, and the rope maker's apprentice Jagotin approach the Norbard houseboats by crossing over the not entirely safe to cross ice by taking a boat. They have murder in mind. Value. Success ends the negotiations and results in either the Festumers' retreat or the bloody battle that ends poorly for both sides. How it gets noticed. The heroes keep tabs on Rudjev or Friedebald. They notice that something is brewing. They can end the action before it begins by interfering and calming the mood. Competitive check. Using Fast Hop Manipulate versus Rudjev. Or by getting Jaroslav, Timinski, or Ludara to put their foot down. Otherwise, the heroes notice something only as the 5 are already armed and on their way. Interfere. The 5 can only be stopped by violence. This might happen on land or on ice. -2 to all checks due to the slippery footings. If Friedebald's life points fall below half their original value, he loses interest, and his squire and Jagotin quit with him. Rudjev fights until he is incapacitated, but he should survive this adventure. Jaroslav likes watching the heroes get beat up. Ludar does not want to interrupt the fight. Timinski interferes on the hero's behalf because he understands the consequences of a victory by Rudev and Friedebald. Turnabout. If the heroes clearly defeat the 5, or if Timinski must interfere, the Festumers' morale falls. New value, Festumers -3 quality level. Against the Festumers, enjoy your meal. Aunt Woodnurka Trubitsky, 73 aunt, big bones, plaid tabard, names of all the family members tattooed on her lower arms, and old Alani. Can't remember the heroes' names and constantly mixes them up. Loves beautiful singing, hates elks, needs new knitting gear. So Woodnurka hands the Festumers a Miskin's jug at the end of the first day of negotiations, but the jug is painted with hidden magical symbols that create subconscious disgust. Consequently, nobody wants to get close to the jug. Because the jug is stored in the kitchen tent with all the food, attendance at meals decreases for a week. So this is the sidebar is describe the handling over of the jug only in passing if you don't want the heroes to notice too early. Many threatening commands have to be issued just to get meals cooked. Everyone is hungry, but shortly before mealtime, without a successful willpower -1 check, they change their minds about eating shortly before mealtime. Hunger prevents normal regeneration at night, and the general mood is bad. Value. Festumers -1 quality level each day, an additional -1 quality level. How it gets noticed. Someone sees the magical symbols when the jug is handed over, perception -5, or conducts a magical lore -1 check or a magical investigation check of the food supply, which leads to the right conclusions. Even a hero who suspects what's going on needs successful willpower, resist threats -1 check to enter the tent, and a 3 quality level to touch the jug. Interfere. Carry the jug out of camp or destroy it. New value, 0 quality level. Turnabout. Hide the jug among the supplies of the houseboat where Taminka or the ant sleeps. New value, Norbards -3. Nice. Miserable seducers. The Norbards, Kaspav, Rimitov, and Sildrosian Prishkov, see the 3 sons, flirt with Squire Jeterine and the guard named Sulja. Sulja dismisses the flirting with a smile, but Jeterine falls in love with the sensitive Kaspav. The 2 meet secretly in the forest over the course of 3 days, and then Jeterine, or Yeterina, maybe it is, decides to defect to the Norbards. Aunt Zajita Rimitov welcomes her to the family against all tradition, but only until the negotiation ends and the drum is sold. From the Festumers' point of view, Yeterine has been taken hostage. Value, Festumers -3 quality level. How it gets noticed. Pointed remarks from Sulia and Zildrolian empathy, discern motivation about Yetterine and Kaspa. The lover's absence, Yetterine's goodbye letter. Interference. Lock up Yetterine or recover her. Admonish Kaspa, who tries to free her. New value, 0 quality level. Turnabout. Convince Kaspa to join the Festumer's side by playing up the Norbard marriage tradition in which the man leaves his family to join the woman. In the best case, Jaroslav agrees to let them wed only if Ludara performs the ceremony, but Ludara must be convinced as well. New value, Norbards, -5 quality level. Breaking the ice. When the ice sheet grows just thick enough to support an adult's weight, some young Norbards strap skates to their feet and skate along near the shore of the camp, mocking the Festumers. Their provocation draw 1d6 club-wielding squires and guards out into the ice. Instead of meting out punishment, they slip and slide in an undignified manner, and the only thing they manage to hurt is their own pride. Things turn dangerous when the Norbards use heavy rocks to shatter the ice, sending the Festumers into the freezing water. Rescuing them requires a successful cumulative check using body control, 1 CR, 1 combat round, 5 attempts. After that, the check fails. Roll 1d20 every 10 combat rounds to see whether each rescuer also falls into the water. Determined by weight, counting backward from 20. Each point on the dice equals 40 pounds. So a person who weighs 140 pounds breaks through on a result of 17 to 20. Spread your weight out with a ladder or similar item. Success mechanics check, check +3. Halves your effective weight for the check. Value, Festumers, -3 quality level. How it gets noticed? Process is obvious. Interfere. Convince the Festumers to ignore the Norbards. Cumulative check using fast talk, 1 minute, or any number of attempts until somebody breaks through. New value, Festumers, -1 quality level. Turnabout. Make the Norbard fall through the ice before any Festumers fall in. New value, Norbards, -4. Two-pronged attack. Dunyev's sister, the graceful Slanka Prishka, is asked to steal personal items from Timitsky and Jaroslav at the camp. It became obvious to the family during the negotiation that Jaroslav often wipes his brow with a stitched handkerchief, while Topinski subconsciously plays with the hilt of his dagger. If the theft is successful, the Zabilja uses magic on the items and learns that Jaroslav's received the handkerchief from his Norbard lover, Krenya, see page 28, and that the dagger used to belong to Topinski's predecessor, Yelki. The aunts take advantage of these weak points, Jaroslav's broken heart and Topinski's remorse, again and again, trying to unsettle the two and turn them against each other. Value, Festumers, -3 quality level. Notice, catch Slanka red-handed, perception, spot versus pickpocket, steal item, 7. Or question another member of the Prishkai family. Interference, slip Slanka items that belong to somebody else against perception 6, or chase Slanka away. New value, Festumers, quality level 0. Turnabout. Take Slanka captive and interrogate her. Try to get her to give away secrets of the families, like the deal with the Ragashovs, the magical influence of the negotiation, her assignment, or the magical study of the personal items. New value, Norbards, -3. There's a sidebar. Reward your players if their heroes discover this information in-game. The knowledge of Jaroslav's and Topinski's weakness grants a bonus of 1 social skills against them. Nice. Bruch must drum. Bruch and Johnny manage to get away, but they want to take revenge against the Jaroslav for the humiliation and torture. From their hiding place, they watch the negotiations and make their move under cover of night before the drum is officially handed over. Johnny removes the skin of Atmos Bloodjinker from the drum, paints the underside, casts the ritual Orvai Kurim's war drum, and then replaces it on the drum. After that, they both hide and wait for an appropriate moment. For the next scene to proceed as described, all of the following conditions must apply. Both sides must have agreed on a price for the drum. The chest and the drum are both present at the negotiation site. There are at least 20 humans present. All of those present are unarmed, and Johnny and Bruce are free and hidden nearby. So this, there's a lot of things for all these to happen. I like that it doesn't just say it's going to happen. There are these specific things that have to happen. It makes it a little more complicated for the game master, but I think it has a cool kind of progression. So the deal is made. Read aloud or paraphrase. Before the Norbards hand over the drum, tradition demands a ritual symbolic exchange be made. A pot of honey for abats. A nod, a shaking of hands, a smile on an aunt's face. The deal is made. Give the heroes time to react. Solemnly, Taminka removes the blanket that covered the drum for so long and spreads it out on the ground. The dark wooden instrument covered with human skin sits behind the row of aunts. Many of those present feel uncomfortable in its presence. Topinski takes the key from his neck and opens a creaking box that holds hundreds of bots. Coin by coin, he counts out the agreed-upon price and tosses it onto the blanket. Faces that were rigid with hatred a short while ago now manage to smile. The tension that dominated the negotiation begins to dissipate. Give the heroes time to react. Suddenly, a red, furred creature jumps out of the bushes, screaming as she runs. Johnny dashes through the clearing. She dodges two or three punches and heads right towards you. Give the heroes time to react. Suddenly, you hear a throbbing, wild, rhythmic booming, a drum beat. A second goblin, is that Brooch, has jumped onto the Thorwall drum. He drums madly on the skin of the executed pirate captain. Rage and wild hatred fill your heart with each stroke. The world disappears behind a red haze that fills your vision. Your skin feels like it is made from iron, and it shines in the blood-red fire that springs up all around you all. Enemies everywhere. Their eyes are empty. Their life is your death. The great warrior calls for blood. The drum ritual, see page 9, seizes the minds of all humans who hear it, turning them into bloodthirsty savages. There's a sidebar. Keep the heroes busy in this scene so Johnny and Brooch can get away. The goblins need a head start, but not before they steal the honeypot that was symbolically sold to Timsky. Taminka can use it later to locate the goblins. Members of the other races who are present, like dwarves, elves, or half-elves, are not affected by the drum. Humans feel the full power of Avari's Kurim's war drum and begin to attack each other, whether armed or not. You have several options for presenting this scene at this point as follows. Played out. Using this combat rules, run this as a battle between bloodthirsty enemies, soulless creatures who deserve death, creatures that were all allies until moments ago. All affected humans gain the state Bloodlust. +4 attack, +2 TP, no defense. I think that's parry, I guess. No defense, no ranged. No, what's TP? That's not. If it's no defense, that's not going to be parry, so I'm not sure what that is. No range combat, no maneuvers, but forceful blow. For 2d20 CR. Narrative. You can simply describe the effects of the bloodlust. Strangely, in this case, Thorwallian and goblin motives seem to blend in the heroes' minds. The sounds of the sea and wild boars, enemies with lizard scales or lion manes and scorpion tails, faceless warriors without mercy that cannot be stopped except by bloody death. Shake it off. With the high... Looks like this is the meeting area. With the high quality level and willpower resist threats, the heroes can resist the effects. Keep the heroes busy preventing a bloodbath among those who remain affected. Variants. The Goblins' Revenge is a pivotal moment in this adventure. The successful trade is overshadowed by the bloody battle, and the heroes receive a new mission that leads them on another wintry journey and deeper into the goblins' culture. If the heroes investigate the meeting place before the drum is handed over, they do not find the goblins. Instead, Brooch beats the drum on the way back to Festoon by dropping from a tree and landing on the instrument. Members of the expedition immediately attack each other. In this case, Ludara and the heroes begin the chase alone. If you want to make it easier, you can add to the tragedy by making it harder. You can add to the tragedy by making the heroes the involuntary murderers of innocent or well-liked characters. Their deaths can make an aunt, a Bronyar, or a rich Festumer into powerful new enemies for the heroes. In this case, all those present should be armed. If you want to make it easier, if you want to spare the heroes the experience of the bloodlust, Brooch can warn them beforehand, or Johnny lures them into the forest so that they only return to the clearing when the worst has already happened. Aftermath. The Thorwall drum is not the goblin Timble from Legends, but in the course of history, the legend of the ritual of the goblin sorceress, as experienced here by the heroes, added to its myth. The mystery of these legends will only become plain with time. All those who have been raging to their senses, displaying evidence of the wild brawl, all those possessed suffer 2 levels of stupor. Most who were possessed by the bloodlust are disoriented for a while, but the others tend to the wounded. Before the heroes can set out after the goblins, Ludara and the rest of the negotiators demand that their presence for a discussion. Despite the general confusion, both sides agree on 2 things. The trade has been made, and the goblins must be caught and punished. Ludara takes the initiative, and the Zabaja Treminka can find out where the goblins are using Call the Hive. The urgency is plain, for she rarely uses this ritual. A new mission. Because the heroes, or Oko, are responsible for freeing the goblins, it is a matter of honor for them to join the pursuit. If the heroes do not view this as their task, Ludara compels them, or the Narbards and Timsky offer an incentive, a 50 bots bounty for each goblin, payable in festoon. Oko is deeply disappointed with his goblin friends and does not want to see them again. Alternatively, he might be sick or injured, preventing his participation in the chase. Regardless, he hands the heroes a copy of his notes regarding the drum ritual and asks them to bring the goblins to justice. If the heroes don't know how to proceed, hint that a magical analysis of the Thorwald drum might provide an information about this ritual. The magical images Johnny painted on the undersides are already fading after a few days, but they are still clearly visible. Johnny's magic. Freed from the iron collar, Johnny can increase the goblin's movement rate with her magic. After an exhausting drum ritual, she only has enough AE left for some uses of Elemental Servant, which allow her to ask elemental spirits to help. The goblins travel for several days. They stick to cover and disguise their tracks, making it hard for them to follow. To make it harder, to give the goblins a bigger head start, make the heroes escort the drum to Salderseed, a trip that takes 3 days. Even then, Ludara is not happy. She allows it if someone mentions safety concerns. Ludara. The Blessed One is impressed by the bloodlust she experienced here. It is similar to the reported effects of the Goblin Timble, as described by the Theater Knights. It is also similar to the feelings associated with worship of the demigod Kor. She decides to find out more about the ritual and to bring the results of her home temple in Fiernan, and thence to the hands of the Alliance of Corsign. Here's the ritual, Call the Hive. Add-on rule. This ritual tracks items that the caster or the caster's family sold or exchanged. Effect, touch a coin or item exchanged for the item being sought to learn the direction of which it lies and the distance in terms of travel, days of travel. The caster receives a bonus of 1 to the check for every year or fraction thereof that the Zabilja or her family own the item prior to the exchange. Conversely, every year or fraction thereof after the exchange incurs a penalty of 1. No modifier may exceed plus or minus 5. Nice. And then now we're on to the next section, Through the March. So this is where we'll call it for the day. It's been a nice hour. So the characters have hopefully negotiated the transfer and sale of the drum, but then the goblins caused this trouble, and now they have to go after the goblins. So it looks like we still got a few more of these to go. A couple sections, the goblins' tracks and goats and pigs, and then the epilogue. So it could be another, still another time or two. So I'm Robert Adichie. We'll come back Wednesday to read the next part. Definitely check out, if you're into the Dark Eye, check out the Aventuria stream or YouTube that Eric is doing, and we recently put that up, another one up this weekend. So check that out if you want to see see what he's working through in Aventuria. He's playing the solo adventures for the card game. So with that, I'm Robert Adichie for Ulysses International. See you Wednesday. Bye-bye.